Cesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Cesar the Crowd Pleaser, and with me on the line is my good friend Mandingo Jones. How you doing, brother?
I feel great. I feel real great.
That was actually coconut water, not a Budweiser, believe it or not. So,
if anybody knows me knows that's true.
yeah, it legit. Can see it clear as day. All right. So, this week we have a little bit interesting off-topic thing for you guys. But first things first, gonna do a little bit of housekeeping, and want to go ahead and mention our Patreon as patreon.com/crowdpleaser. This is where you can give a little bit something back to the show should you so choose. This show will always be free, but any contribution that you do is always greatly appreciated and helps go towards funding all the extra content I do and things like that. Every week on the show, we give a special shout out to a special patron of the show. And this week, the patron is Shauna Porter. You rock. Thank you so much for your support. Greatly appreciated. Once again, guys, definitely check that out at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. If you're interested for getting some behind the scenes footage and things like the uncut version of this show and great other things like that. I mail out prints every month, etc., etc. Next up is La Bear Dallas. This is where both Mandingo and I work 5 nights a week. Yeah, right, Dingo? For the most part, every other 5 nights a week?
Yeah, 5 nights. 5 nights. When I'm there, it's 5 nights.
So 5 nights a week, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's right, ladies. We are your number one destination for all things party. It could be bachelorette party, promotion party, divorce party, birthday party. I don't know. Happy Kwanzaa party. You name it, you come out. We have the good time for it. So
any party, and we got you.
It's a tea party. You're having a tea party. You could do it at La Bear. That's it. We're just that kind of accommodating.
We got you.
All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into our main topic. So throughout the course of my career, and I believe yours as well, Mandingo, we get plenty of women that want to know about us. They are super interested and want to get to pull back the curtain, so to speak, and get the 411 on what we are as quote-unquote real people, which I want to go ahead and throw out the disclaimer that I am way cooler in the club than I am in real life. So for those of you that do want to get to know me, be surprised, be ready, because, yeah, your game, my best me. All right, so with that being said, today we are going to talk about some of the various hobbies that the different entertainers have. This is, some people do it to make some side hustle income, others do it because that is their passion, and others do it because it is their release and stuff like that. But it kind of shows you a little bit of the smorgasbord of personalities that we have as entertainers across our journeys. So another disclaimer is that not all the hobbies we are mentioning are going to be from Mandingo or myself. They are hobbies that we know of from our compatriots at the club. To avoid throwing people's personal information out there that does not want it known, we're not going to say whose hobbies these are. We are simply going to talk about them. Some good, some bad, some in the middle, and some we just don't quite understand. So, Dingo.
What's up?
What do you think, brother? Do you want to start with somebody else's, or do you want to start with one of yours of mine?
Well, I'm going to start with somebody else's right now. And my first thing on my mind was the graphic design hobby.
Okay, all right, let's go into it. So what does said person do as graphic design?
Man, flyers, album covers, pictures. Also,
I'm not gonna lie.
excuse
I'm not
me.
gonna lie. For a split second, when you said flyers, I thought you said fires, and I was like, "Whoa, Dingo, we might have to reevaluate your graphic design interpretation."
We might have to censor this podcast.
So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. And actually, I should say, photographer slash graphic designer. Photography is a whole nother hobby in itself, but combined with, you know, graphic design, that becomes its whole other type of hustle. Like you have to split your time between taking pictures, editing these pictures, which is photography, still not graphic design yet, and then editing these pictures for a graphic design, whether it be putting you in a background, making sure the words fit right above your shoulder to where everything doesn't look like it's forced in there. Like there's a lot that goes into graphic design, and I've seen a little bit of it. I don't know much about it, but I've had flyers done, and my flyers came out spectacular, actually. Pretty much every single time, even as he was progressing. So you can tell it's a passion
Yeah.
for him. Like nobody can people don't take pictures and edit pictures, and they don't create scenery to put people in pictures in, if I said that correctly, I probably didn't. But if they don't love it or they don't have some sort of passion for it, it's just going to become tedious work that they're going to be like, okay, I'm bored.
Yeah.
And they're going to go do something else. Like that's just how it is. What do you think?
So like, and are they self-taught, or did they go? Is this something they followed professionally, like through school or through some form of training or education?
I think majority of it is self-taught, and then I want to assume, don't quote me on this because I'm not quite sure exactly. But this is the information age, so you can find a lot of information on the internet if you needed to. I don't know if you count that as self-taught, but I mean, I guess you're choosing to go and look up a tutorial or look up maybe a comparison, look up and compare, the way somebody does certain things to the way that you do certain things to try to get the same result.
Yeah.
Or even a better result. And that goes across almost all hobbies pretty much. You have the information age, you have YouTube, internet teachers, everything. You can do everything online now. But
True story. Very true story.
It's still difficult to take it upon yourself because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't have that person there standing next to you telling you, no, move it here, and this is why I move it here, versus what is the generic standard for all of us when moving this somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
So I think taking the initiative to do it on your own, actually watching this person do it a couple of times with different projects, and not only I've asked from them, and just projects I've seen them do for other people. It's very obvious that he was not only gifted with the mind to be able to do it, but the patience as well, and that only comes with the love of it. So
yeah.
He's that's something else that's astonishing about it. Like you really have to love it to be able to do it by yourself and go through so many trials and errors with no one to turn to and be like, what did I do wrong? Like, what's going on?
Well,
just internet polls and Q&As and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Thinking about how frustrating it might be for somebody who's doing it all on their own.
Well, I mean, the cool thing too about that is the fact that they because they've chosen to do kind of a hobby or a genre that allows them to have subjects, so to speak, i.e. other entertainers and stuff, they're kind of able to get some kind of feedback back that way, right? Because, I mean, like you said, he's going to sit there and take pictures of you guys. You're going to see the edited pictures on your flyers. You're going to see what they look like, of the actual photo once he edits them. So you're able to get some kind of critique, even if it might not necessarily be specifically like the art. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is what filter you're supposed to use on Photoshop, et cetera, et cetera. You're still getting something out of it, and like a form of feedback. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of helps you know that you're on the right track when you have someone that's like, oh man, this photo is awesome, or like, dude, I really love that flyer. Like, ladies are really appreciating it and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely ties in with the profession tenfold. Like, there's no way it's perfect, because if you ain't making something for somebody else, you're making it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always practicing anyway.
Yeah,
and you know yourself better than you can make something for yourself better than anybody else will, for the most part, depending on their equipment or their skill set. But you knowing yourself, and knowing how you want to be viewed, you can, instead of explaining it to somebody else, you may as well just do it yourself when you have the ability to do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just it's also big in what I do. Graphic design is huge in what I do. And
Oh really?
Yeah, of course. It ties in with everything.
You're talking about like album covers and stuff like that, or just the flyers for your shows?
Album covers, single covers, promotional pictures to market for flyers, anything, just content creation. It's graphic design ties in with the music industry tenfold. Like, there is very little visual representation outside of it's literally 50-50. You have videos and then you have pictures. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus like if you're playing a song on your smartphone, like the track is good, the photo of the track or the album is gonna be shown anyway. So that has to be good. So actually, speaking of that, so on your thing real quick, because now I'm a little curious, I want to ask. So when you post your stuff, right, like to Bandcamp and all that stuff, are there photos attached to these singles and things like that when they download the song they're gonna get it, or are you kind of like not there yet?
I haven't posted any original singles, so all of those are being determined. So it's gonna be one of two things. It's either gonna be in a completely original picture and graphic design in and of itself for the single, or the cover of whatever album it'll be on, or tape it'll be on, like one of those two.
Gotcha.
So for the meantime, I've just been posting pictures I'm affiliated of or pictures of me for these remixes. Like, I haven't put anything out that I fully own.
Okay.
So I can't do that.
Got you. Yeah.
Or it would be wise to not do that. Like, it's cool. I could do it. It'll be cool. But it ain't going to have the same effect as me putting it on something that's all original creation that I own.
Okay.
So, that would just be doing graphic design for the sake of doing graphic design at that point.
Okay. I got you.
Which, it might be cool, but hey.
Maybe. All right. Let's move on to our next one. So we actually have two guys in our midst that build houses and renovate houses for a hobby. They do this. One of them kind of does it for a living. I guess occasionally he picks up houses and tries to flip them and stuff like that. But a lot of times he just kind of does it because he enjoys it. And then another gentleman 100% does it for his own purposes. Remodeled his own house, remodeled a home of a friend. So that's super talented. Like, I mean, you need to know what the heck you are doing to do it. Like, that's not something you could just kind of on a whim decide, like, hey, I'm going to try my luck at building a house today.
Yeah, that's not,
so
yeah, I know exactly.
One of the guys did, I believe someone in the family had a construction business, and that's where they kind of started to learn, but they end up taking up on their own, and they've continued that. So I think that's super neat. It just opens up the world is your oyster, essentially, because there's something you want to do to your house, you can just do it on your own,
Which, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is I know I say that about a lot of stuff. You either have one thing or the other. Like, that's how I sound right now. Because I literally said that about the last subject. But let's be real. You have one thing or the other. Either
No.
either you're gonna fix it yourself or you're gonna pay someone else to fix it. And like I
Yep.
said, only you know how you want to do it.
Yep.
So I'm sure it does save a lot of money because parts, labor is a huge part of fixing all that
For sure. For sure.
maintenance, repair, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
But you feel like some of the pleasure in building, renovating, creating, flipping is in the preparation for another person and not for them.
Sometimes one of them he definitely does it as kind of like a side hustle and things like that. But the other person genuinely just does it because they enjoy it and they do it on their own most of the time, and it's great. It's super cool too because it's like if you want to do something to your house, like instead of having to pay a bunch of money to someone that may or may not have your vision, like he just does it on his own. He's like looks it up if it's something he hasn't tried before. If it is, he tries it anyways. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just think it's super neat to be able to craft something that will last you an infinite amount of time. You know what I'm saying? As long as you take care of it, like who knows how long it'll last you.
Yeah, when you can just keep putting it back together.
Yeah, or sure, just plain old take care of it too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's 100% a thing.
Yeah, but nothing's gonna last forever, even if you take care of it. So to be able to replace it,
Fair.
some of those jobs are unavoidable. But like even bigger, those are the big jobs. And if you do a big job, you can do a big job, man. He can do a big job.
Mm-hmm.
That's no pun intended. That's you. That's like much more money you're saving.
Yeah.
Sometimes those big jobs get more than one organization involved to get it.
Oh yeah, well, especially when you're talking about like using like when you rack up like those big jobs are labor. They're labor intensive. So when you're talking about how much money you're saving on labor alone doing it yourself, like it's no joke.
No doubt.
So I can get behind that. All right, so I thought that was cool. Let's see. What's another hobby that you know from the guys?
Bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we see that a lot, and I know to some people they might think like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like we all go to the gym and this and that, but actually, bodybuilding and powerlifting actually are three entirely different things. You know what I'm saying? Like bodybuilding, I should take that into stride. So we all worry about our body, we worry about aesthetics. So there is a level of bodybuilding to it. But when some of these guys take bodybuilding seriously and they want to go on stage and perform, like it is a whole nother level of science and dedication that not everyone is going to know or have.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just the long and short of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's what's up?
bodybuilding. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I've ran into I know some people who were power lifters as well that were, dancers. So powerlifting is a complete, like you said, a whole nother demon. Like, but bodybuilding, like you said, the dedication you have to have is just on another level. Now consider this. We're already dedicated to a pretty tight 5-day-a-week schedule right now.
Mm-hmm.
So consider adhering to not only that, but a very strict gym and eating schedule. It doesn't sound like much, but it depends on what you have to get done and when you have to do it. In bodybuilding, it's not just about getting it done. Sometimes if you're forced to, you can just gotta get it done. But timing is everything, and consistency is as well. So when your consistency is broken as a bodybuilder, then you have a problem. You have to stay consistent and work each individual body part however you're conditioned to or not conditioned to, or in whatever detail you have to work it in order for it to get to a point where you're competing or in order to get to a point where you can beat someone on a national, global, or whatever level, depending on however big somebody's dreaming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, shoot, man. Like the thing is too about bodybuilding is that like since you're working so hard to get those small percentages of like aesthetics that only a finite amount of people can do, that you can't really afford to slip. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're sitting there trying to slim the fat, going down from, you know, average people sit somewhere between 8 and 11%. You're trying to get down to 7 and 6%. That's where like you can't be like, oh, I'm not feeling well today, I'm gonna have like a little bit of an extra snack. Like you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't miss out on key workouts. Like your body gets into that rhythm and you are fine tuning. It's like a race car. You know how they don't drive race cars on the highway? Well, it's the same thing. And so you are operating on an entirely different level, and it requires a long-term commitment. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to bodybuild, I'm going to be ready for a show at the end of the month. That just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like it is months worth of commitment for, which is the one thing, the reason why I couldn't do it. When I finally did one show, I couldn't do it was you're prepping for anywhere from 3 to 8 months to be on stage for 60 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
pretty much, yeah.
Like, and then you are at the mercy of other people that are going to judge you strictly on your aesthetics. Like, man, it's absolutely insane. It is not an easy thing to do, and the level of dedication those guys have is really impressive. Really impressive.
Yeah, I thought about doing it, and I was like, nah, yeah,
Yeah.
not gonna do that.
Well, and then plus, like, there's the emotional side of it too. If any of you ladies out there have ever been close to a bodybuilder, when they're in quote unquote training season and stuff like that, and their diet gets really locked in, like they become pretty darn miserable. You know what I'm saying? Because you're starting to adjust your eating habits and your diet, which is affecting your body chemistry, which does lead to some emotional and social side effects. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and if even one, like, it's, I guess I did kind of undersell that now that I think about it, because you cannot afford inconsistency there. You absolutely cannot afford. It's you almost feel bad for the guy sometimes when it comes close to the end of that whole process where they're cutting carbs. You feel bad for him, man. You feel bad eating in front of him, all that. You're just like, God, like I have bread on both sides of the sandwich.
Yeah. They can smell it too.
Yeah.
Since the smell is like super heightened, you could be in a different room and they'll be like, "Is someone cracking open peanut butter and jelly over there?" You're like, "What the?"
Is that a honey bun?
Oh God, you guys are horrible. Jesus.
Yeah, trust me, it's not something that everyone could do, or else everyone would be like, "Oh, I'm a bodybuilder."
Yeah, no joke, no joke. True
And
story.
like you can, and there's bodybuilding on different levels. There's bodybuilding as far as maintenance. You know, I mean, you want to consider it what you want, but we're talking competition, like people who are getting paid off of, getting sponsored by, or attempting to get sponsored by on a higher level because of their body. Man, I've been killing a lot of ants lately. I'm gonna have to do something about this. So,
Good to know. I was concerned about that.
you know, you gotta be. So when you commit yourself to something like that, you don't have a choice but to commit your emotions. Your emotions are going to be, it's what you're there for all the time. It's what you think about. It's what you go to think about. It's what you think about before you go to sleep. It's the first thing you think about when you wake up. It's what you meditate on. It's what you pray on. You're eating, like literally, your eating is literally geared toward the betterment of that. There's no time off, even at work.
Yeah, true.
Especially at work too, because you might be tempted because you're around some people who might not have the same, like I said, the same diet plan and be eating a double cheeseburger. Hey, you know, with some fries. Or chocolate milkshake. You know?
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're just sitting there with their, rice cake. Not even their rice cake is the carb that they have to pump up for the show. So not even that. They're sitting there with their tilapia and their green beans. You know what I'm saying? Just night after night after night.
They're unseasoned tilapia.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like fishy fish. Well, that's all I can have.
Oh, oh, no! All you can have is the skin, the scales. That's all
Yeah.
you're allowed to have today. You had your rice cake last week. Like,
Heaven forbid, one of the ladies would be like, "You looking a little thin. You okay?" Oh, hell no.
oh no, ma'am.
What do you mean
That
I'm
would
looking
cause
thin? Am I looking flat? Hell.
no. I knew I should have had that other rice cake.
Why? Why?
Oh man, yeah.
The harsh life,
The
man.
only reason why it's so, the only reason why it's so funny is because of how serious it actually really is.
Oh yeah, without a doubt,
That's why
man.
it's so.
I mean, I've been in those shoes. I hear you. There was one time I had to go out.
And powerlifters.
It was like 2 weeks before Europa. 2 weeks before Europa, I'm sitting there. My brother graduates from flight attendant school, so we go out to see his graduation. Of course, we go out to eat after. We go eat at a nice restaurant to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's like ordering normal food and this and that. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I'm good with my little pack. Like, I end up bringing my prep meal, my meal prep, and bring it to the restaurant. They're like, you want to order anything? I'm like, no, I can't have anything. They're like, well, they got veggies here. I'm like, yeah, dipped in butter and sauteed and this and that. Like, that doesn't work. And they felt so bad. They like literally made the waiter go grab a plate so I could put the food on the plate, so they would feel like I was having something. I'm like, y'all are killing me.
Wait, what? What? They made you get? They gave you an extra
So
plate for
yeah,
what?
so we were at the restaurant. I was eating my meal prep because I still wanted to celebrate with them. But
Oh, the food you brought.
yeah. So what they did is they like
Oh,
literally
and you put and
made me
gave you.
they made me give my like meal prep food, my little container, to the waiter to go take to the pack, put it on a slap it on a plate, probably nuke it, and then bring it back to me so I could eat it. Like they brought me food or something. I was like, what the? But I mean,
Did you do it?
yeah, I mean, I did it to like it was one of those things where they were like so uncomfortable about it. You know what I'm saying? They were just,
I'm sorry, I wouldn't have done it. I'd have just eaten.
eh.
I'd have been like, look. I'd be like, look, I'm doing this. This is just just enjoy your food.
Well, that's the thing. They wouldn't like it. Oh man, it was just like I said. Yeah, it was just a moment. I was just like, man, if I don't ever have to do this again, I will not be disappointed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
anywho,
can dig it.
can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
All right. So the flip side to that, or not flip side, but kind of on the same boat, is the powerlifters. And powerlifters run into a very, it's like similar at the same time not scenario where their diet is actually on the other side of it, where they are actually losing definition and maybe not looking as aesthetically pleasing on the stage because of the fact that they are bulking or essentially trying to build as much muscle as they can to go on stage and look their best, you know, or not. I'm sorry, correction. To lift their best.
I was like, no.
Yeah. So you know, these guys are throwing up record-breaking amounts of weight, both bench press, squat, sumo deadlift, cleans, all that stuff. So you're talking about people that, you know, they're lifting for powerlifting. Thus, the name says it all. And you know, it's tough because it's tough on the body. They have to be emotionally prepared to do it because, I mean, you're throwing a lot of strain on yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is not something to take lightly. And so it's really tough to sit there and do that workout during the day and lift more than you've lifted ever before and know that you're feeling a little less defined for stage. And then after you're exhausted from doing all that, going to work that night and going on stage and being exhausted on it, but still pushing yourself to put on a good show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know.
Like, don't get me wrong. There is a struggle with bodybuilding, but I feel like it's a certain level of endurance and burnout versus when you're trying to lift, you know, 3 times your body weight.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I also have noticed a lot of bodybuilders. I'm sorry, not bodybuilders.
powerlifters
Have a they have a tendency to use those knee wraps and
Mm-hmm.
the joints. I don't like that one bit. I used to I used to powerlift back in the day, like back in like high school and stuff. So I do remember that feeling, and you're absolutely right. They have to like, it's almost like every set they're preparing to go to battle or something. They have to get into a certain mind state that just makes them the unstoppable force versus what's supposed to be an immovable object. The mindset is just,
Yeah.
completely different.
Well put, though. I like that.
Like the immovable
And
object
the
statement.
unstoppable force. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I heard that one, but yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's just, man, like these dudes are throwing down, and yeah, like you mentioned with the wraps and stuff, it's wear and tear on your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to be safe about it. There's a way to be smooth about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But man, at the end of the day, you're still throwing out some serious freaking weight that your body may or may not be ready to do. You know what I'm saying? And you're training it to do it. But I mean, think about, like, in the audience right now, think about how much you weigh, right? And then think about that some of these guys are throwing up 350, 400, 425 pounds in bench press. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are some, so just put that into perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about,
And then go, and then dancing.
exactly. They're doing that during the day, and then at night they're going out there and dancing for all you ladies. Like,
right when they're supposed to be recovering.
it's absolutely mind-boggling. Like, man, these dudes are impressive, and they do it, for less than reputable recognition. You know what I'm saying? And I just say that because I'm being real. Like, powerlifters are a very niche market. It's one of those things, man, where it's just kind of like,
where you'll see them on like ESPN once every 2 years. In comparison, well, that's probably an exaggeration. I'm sure they're on there more, but like you'll see them very rarely. They'll be like, "Oh, at the lifting meet, so and so did this," and then they'll just move on to LeBron James or something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you're absolutely right. They're doing this. There's a passion. It's driving them to do this. A passion or a pride that might be, you know what I'm saying? The driving force behind what they're doing.
So,
well, there has to be.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's awesome. I think it definitely says a lot about their intestinal fortitude and just their ability to really drive through so much and like exert themselves to a different level that most people will never do in their lives,
Never. Never.
Cool, man. All right. So moving on, let's get a little bit near and dear to your heart. We have two guys that are singer-songwriters and lyricists and all that good stuff. So what's up, man? Like, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit on you, bro. Like, so talk about your hobby, which is a side hustle and a profession all at the same time, but it's something that you have a passion and love. So
definitely. Well, where do you want me to start? What do you like? I have
why do you sing? Why do you sing? Why do you rap? Why do you write songs?
I can't help it. It's just the best answer. I just can't help but do it. A lot of times I was before I started actually writing or even taking it seriously, I'd just freestyle a lot. And while I was doing that, people that I know personally would be like, "Yo, you should do this," or "Yo, you should do that." But everybody's friends hypes them up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, that's why your friends support each other.
At least your real friends hype you up. But if you can't do something, your real friends should tell you that you're not doing it well, you should get better at it, or you can't do it. Like something.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that from anybody. I mean, the thing was the music culture in Houston was like largely imprinted on my brain. So when something came on, you just started freestyling. And if somebody was down with it, they were listening to you. Or they'd be like, "Man, I don't feel like hearing that." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it goes. Because everybody in Houston thinks they can freestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people in Houston can. So for me, it was at the time it was just like a little hobby. I drunk and freestyle at parties. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it all because I was drunk, just kind of continuous. But now I'm at the point where I'm a lot more skilled with it. Um, Younger, I was a writer. I read a lot. Just I didn't have as many um, issues with writing as I did math at the time. Like I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed writing. I enjoyed writing more, so I put more into it. Um, and I've just kind of always been a mix of a writer slash musician because I started as a saxophone player and when I was in the fifth grade, and then I played sax from fifth grade uh, through high school. Um, After that, I wanted to be I was a music minor for a little bit, but I
Okay.
couldn't handle the load of that and my biology major and football. So I kind of had to split. I had to drop something, and I wasn't gonna drop major or football. Dropped the music minor, but I still learned a lot from it while I was there. I was still timid about it though. Um, then it was around the time I started dancing. My mind opened up a lot more, and then something just kind of kick started for me to just start doing it, to just actually make it serious, and then it had to go from how, like over the years, it's developed from okay, I want to get serious to what steps do I need to take to get serious to
This is what I want to be doing.
okay, why does this work? Go ahead.
So this is what I want to be doing.
Oh yeah, it was always this throughout this whole process. It was always this is what I
Okay.
wanted to be doing, or else this process wouldn't have continued to evolve. Because once you find out the next step and you do it, and then you're like, oh, there's more. If you don't want to do it, you ain't
Gotcha.
gonna keep
Gotcha.
doing it. So I was at the point where it was like, um, over the years, it evolved from how do I want to do this to how do I do this to, you know what I'm saying? How does this work and why doesn't this work? I know I'm good enough here, but where am I lacking as to where people, you know what I'm saying, can really want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where it's like, well, I've heard these many people and they're great, but why aren't they making any buzz? What's going on with them? Like, why? Is it talent? It's not talent. And then I started to see looked at other people and I was like, why are they taking off? What's going on with them? This person's talented as well, but what's the difference? Let me examine that. Then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to change something. I don't know what it is yet, but I need to change something.
Okay.
Um, and it just kept on progressing. And then it got finally to the point, well, how do I do it myself? That is when things changed. And that, if at any point in time I had any doubts,
Mm-hmm.
which it's natural to have doubts as a human, but to know what to do with them, you know, and know how to manage them and use them as motivation will be, you know, it'll work out in your favor if you can do all that. But um, it got to the point where, damn, I keep pressing that. It got to the point where, where I was sure of myself even more because I, the thought of how do I do this myself excited me more than just, well, I need to get this done.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
that's the cool thing of the world today is the fact that everything is so accessible to everyone between the internet and what you can find on how to do things and just how accessible the equipment is that if you really want to do something, you could probably do it on your own one way or another.
there are very few reasons not to. The biggest reason is usually money, but the internet bypasses a lot of that. Um, that's the thing, though.
I mean, because for the most part,
Like,
you could be entirely self-produced right now, right?
I pretty much am.
Well, shoot, there you have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can buy the equipment to record your tracks. You can coordinate and collaborate with other people at your level of popularity. to get your background music and stuff like that. You know, now we're such a digital age. You don't need to create a record, like have a record label actually produce the distribution for you and produce your albums, like, you know, or manufacture rather, not produce. You know what I'm saying? You can literally put all your stuff on SoundCloud. You can put your stuff on YouTube. You can put your stuff on Bandcamp or even iTunes and sell it and make your money on singles and your albums immediately.
That's another thing. You have to know how to do that, though. See, it's another little pothole in the road. Well, it's not actually not a little one. It's a very large one. And there's a difference between just putting your music up and getting a piece of it and putting it up and getting everything back for that one song. It's completely, you know, so deciphering the different ways to put your music out, because there's a bunch of different ways to put it on each of those platforms. SoundCloud, I mean, that's pretty much one of the ones where you can just put it up. You can get paid off of it now, from what I know. Spotify, you can get paid off of it. Apple Music, you get paid off of it. I guess if you're on Tidal, you get paid off it. Pandora, all that. When your song is streamed, the percentage of what you get back is much higher when you own every single thing. You don't have to pay out a little bit of a producer, when you don't have to pay out an engineer. If you can engineer, if you can record and do all that good stuff, then that's a lot of money you're putting back into your pocket. So why not learn how to do it if you have the ability? Now, if you don't have the ability and it's slowing you down, it's a completely different thing. But if you have the ability to do this, then do it and separate yourself quicker. That way you'll save more money and put more money into the marketing aspect. Yeah. Into the graphic designer. Put more money into copyright, trademarking, merchandise, all of that good stuff. There has to be like being in the music industry is being a music business yourself if you're trying to make as much as you can.
Gotcha. Sweet, man. And so, like, how is the response to your audience? Like, are you building a following inside and outside the club? Like, what's up, man?
Well, there have been a couple of quite a few inconsistencies with me releasing and being able to market properly with a lot of the changes that have occurred because of the shutdown over at Hard Bodies, converting it to the gallery. So my investments changed. My priorities changed for a second because I had to take you got to take a step back before you can take that step forward in some cases. So I was doing that and straightening up quite a few things the last few months and researching other, like, more evolved avenues of putting my music out there. Not saying that everything else wasn't evolved enough, but when you think about it, things change like every 6 months. So you don't know what could have come across that could have made my mission a little easier. You know what I'm saying? Give me like I could come across another place to put music. I can come across another social media place. I can come across another device, invention, modification, DAW, a digital audio workspace, whatever. I can come across something that could change the way I work anyway. Yeah. So doing that research during that time that I was very latent is actually going to help me be able to propel and, I got you. Catapult whatever I'm going to put out and let it actually, make better impact than before. I can believe it. There's a bunch that goes into it, and it's, sometimes you want to make something catchy. Sometimes you want to make something that's personal to yourself. Sometimes you don't want to make anything at all because you want to allow the serendipity, and when you lay down, it just pops up. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you don't want to, but you have to recognize that you have to take some time to allow that regeneration. At least for me, everyone's different, but that's my process. Yeah. Specifically, like, sometimes I'm just going to watch a nature documentary, let my brain relax a little bit, soak up some information. Who knows if I might get inspired by it or something. everything is inspiration. Sometimes you just got to pay attention, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
100%.
so that's, trying to think what kind of other information I can give. Being somewhat of a multi-instrumentalist is fun. It's another aspect, writing, recording, engineering, and also the actual playing of music on instruments. As you know, I've practicing guitar quite a bit.
Yeah, we have a few musicians actually across the board.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, well, may as well dive into that aspect then. When it comes
Yeah,
down to
so
the
throw it down.
actual instrument part of it, man, starting with the saxophone. Well, yeah, that was my choice. I saw it when I was in like fourth grade and was like, that's the one I want. So I started with the sax and I practiced a lot more when I was younger. But when I got to the ninth grade, I saw a lot of pianos. I was gonna say a lot of pianos lying around. Well, there were a lot of pianos at the high school. You know, I was in the band hall and there was a room attached to it. I think it was a piano room. So I'd go in there and mess around on the pianos and I'd try to transpose songs from the saxophone that I knew to the piano, but I didn't know the notes until I got to college and took music theory. I didn't know what the notes were on the piano. I just followed the sounds. So
Yeah.
I could already kind of play a little bit, but so I could play the piano. I'm just not classically trained, and I just have to work harder to remember where the notes are because I'm not classically trained, but I can play it. I can go up and down it. Like I can learn scales and all that.
No kidding, dude. That's freaking cool as heck.
I can read. I've been reading music since fifth grade, so all I gotta do is transpose it. But it's a whole nother part of your mind you're using. And thank you. It's a whole nother part of your mind that you're using, and it helps you like, you know, um, open up your, I guess, the creative side of your brain. Was that, is that the left side?
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't remember. I know what you're talking about. I'm just really bad at keeping track of it.
I assume it's like the left side is your artistic side, and your like right side, you're more like, I guess, what, logical, mathematical brain or something like that.
I could get behind that.
I assume. I don't know. I might be wrong about that too, but who knows? So, the guitar now was actually pretty hard to pick up, but with the help of a tool that I'm using. I'm not gonna go too far into detail, but this tool that I'm using is helping me learn it a little bit better, and also YouTube tutorials for certain songs that I just want to play. You know, some songs.
Yeah, I've heard you jamming on the back from time to time. I'm pretty impressed by it. It makes it definitely seem like you've been playing a lot longer than you actually have, you know?
Well, thank you. The thing about guitar that's also really difficult is the fact that, and there's a couple guys that play guitar in there specifically, they need to create their own sounds through distortion, fuzz, overdrive, compression, wah-wah pedals, flangers, phasers, and I guess you can use talk boxes on guitars. There's all kinds of effects you can add to guitars to create your own specific sound. So that's why, you know, being a guitar player also sets you a little bit further apart as a musician. We all know drummers are the, like, they're extremely talented to be able to be able to drum, to be able to focus on so much at one time is just absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, man. Like you're using all four limbs. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I think every musician has a certain articulation of their body that is pretty impressive. But like, I have appreciation for drummers because you're using everything all the time. You know what I'm saying?
All of your limbs, everything you've got, your nose if you have to. So the guitar, that's a whole nother, like I was saying, it's a whole nother type of instrument because you can like create, for example, like Prince used to create own specific sounds that only Prince would do and make because he had the guitar. He had the right strings. He had the right. He had it tuned the way he wanted to. He had the right amp, probably the right pedals, all the right settings on each individual pedals, and all the effects to create one sound that was specific to him that only he knew how to make. So when you have guys at home like, oh, let me try to make this Prince sound. Let me try to make this Eric Johnson sound. It's
Yeah.
way harder than it sounds. Oh, I can just do the math. It's like, no, it's like trying to crack. It's like trying to do a Rubik's Cube of sounds, basically.
Yeah,
So
true.
it's pretty hard. But you might end up creating your own sound in the process. But you got to remember those settings so you can come back to it. But that's the kind of, so I learned that. I had to learn that. I learned some of that from my roommate, watching people. So I guess, go ahead.
No, like I said, I think anyone that could play a music instrument as an artiste is just super impressive to me. I think it's great and I enjoy it, and it's cool because it's something that you can like kind of not necessarily do with other people, but at the same time you can. You know what I'm saying? So like certain hobbies, you can only do it with people that know the hobby. But when you're a musician, you could just sit there and play, and people can just enjoy you playing.
Yeah.
And so, even though it's one of those things you can kind of share even with people outside of that specific hobby.
For sure. Very easy to share.
Yeah. Speaking of sharing, actually, we have a couple of guys that are Zumba instructors. Do you see any of that? Did you have anything like that when you were at Hard Bodies? Or no, is this strictly just up here? That probably answers the question in of itself.
Yeah, I would have to say the only real. Yeah, that would be all.
Yeah. So these guys are great because they've taken combining two of our favorite things as entertainers, which is dancing and fitness, and combined it and in a profession where they're able to share it with a ton of people. Like some of these guys have classes that are upwards of 50 people. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of coordinate with a local gym or something like that, and they're able to take, some people even learn how to dance here at the club. And so they're able to share that fitness with and health with other people without necessarily making it boring or your stereotypical workouts that deter a lot of people from being healthier in their lives. And I think that's super cool because then they also kind of cross-pollinate with the Zumba community as well as entertainment and things like that, because they're all performers in some aspects. They're all trying to get their hustle on. And so there's a lot of networking that really goes into that because, I mean, let's just face it. Every country in the planet has Zumba somewhere in it. It's grown so much.
Yeah, it's definitely on the move.
And
I've seen people on my Instagram from the UK talking about them leaving their Zumba classes.
yeah, there you have it. Like just that simple. It's absolutely insane. Super cool. So I thought that was great, and some of them, I think it might have initially started as a hustle where they were like working out and they saw it as another way. And some of them just do it because they enjoy it and it lets them spend more time with their friends because their friends go to class and stuff like that. And they're helping people, reach their healthier selves. So I think that's super neat too.
No doubt about it. Like, let's just say the amount of energy you have to be able to go instruct those classes and then come work from 7 to 2 is just on another level of endurance.
Oh yeah, man. It's a straight up freaking cardio. Like you're just straight up doing cardio, a hard cardio because you're talking halfway through it. And let me tell you, me being an aerial instructor, talking through anything makes it way more difficult without a doubt.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, it's just crazy. Actually, whenever you're really ready to take your show to the next level, Pink does aerial fabric stuff while she's singing. So whenever you want to take your rap game to another level for your shows, I'll start teaching you some moves and stuff you can do in the air.
That would actually be, man, how would that work out?
You'll just have to invest in some wireless mics.
Oh yeah, those are gonna be there regardless. I'm gonna have those. What's up, New York? Rolling down the rolling down from Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Something that looks like a Fruit Loop.
Yep, that'd be so dope. Actually, to play on your number one headband theme, you can somehow tie the silks to your forehead and wrap it around, then have them go all the way up, and then you just undo them when you hit the ground.
One giant headband.
Yes, the number one giant headband.
The number one. Come down, getting unwrapped like a mummy.
There you go. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You can have all kinds of patterns put on them. Yeah. All right. We digress. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on. One of our last hobbies that we have is we actually have, it kind of goes off of the graphic design that we were talking about earlier, but we actually have an individual, or three actually, that kind of fall into that content creation category, but they're movie directors and editors. So we have guys that are, have professional recording equipment. They go out and they film, they'll make a script or a screenplay or for a scene board, I think is what it's called. I forgot now. And they will film all this raw footage of scenes, or just take raw footage from what we do and go back and edit it to create a short film. And some guys do it like blogs on YouTube. Other guys make it in attempts to get on actual funding for an actual movie of theirs and independent films and things like that. And so it's super cool because you see these things and they have a plethora of guys that are willing to help them make it. So you take the vision that they have in their idea and you just spend a day out there recording with them and stuff like that. And, a month later, they're like, hey, I finished the video, and post it, and you see the creation. And it's super fun to kind of be locally famous that way. You know what I'm saying? Or just see something that someone's idea in their head come to fruition on a screen. And it's really fun to give people like an inside scoop on, for example, the one guy that does blogs on YouTube and stuff like that. He kind of lets people know what the behind the scenes is in the club when we're going up on stage, or when he's going to a strippergram.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's super cool. And I think it's another way, much like this podcast, to just kind of pull back the curtain and let people see who we are and what we're capable of,
Yep. I agree. Completely.
But yeah, I mean, that will do it, I think. Are there any other extra hobbies you want to throw in there?
Yours.
People already know plenty about mine. We don't need to go into mine that much. They've been listening to this podcast for over 2 years now. They know what's up. The one
You gotta have something.
I mean, they know, man. I cosplay, so I dress up as cartoon characters and comic book characters and things like that. Content create, so I make a bunch of video footage. I have the reality show that you, Mandingo Jones, were on. And
what about let's talk flow arts.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I do fire spinning, yeah, which fire spinning and light spinning. So for those of you who don't know, I do fire poi primarily, but also fire arts or flow arts, like Mandingo said, where it is just kind of taking a tool or instrument and creating a flow around your body with the object. Sometimes it's LEDs, sometimes it's just static, objects like balls on ropes or staffs. And Mandingo actually does it as well, so we can talk about you doing it. We do have a collaboration video, which we probably need to do another one next time you're in town. Find a cool spot and get some flow going, that I posted on social media, so you guys can check that out. Just look for the one where Mandingo is tagged on it. And I started doing it because I thought it was great to upgrade my show at the club, and come to find out, as soon as I did it, much like when you start singing, this is what you wanted to be doing, that's how I felt about it. I absolutely love flow arts. I think it's great enjoyment. I like the skill above it. I like the zen about it. I like the aesthetics of it. And I mean, who doesn't like playing with fire,
I mean, I don't really, but hey.
Not yet. We can get you a baton. Actually, I have a fire baton. I might just bring it to the club and we'll tie some string to it and see if it has the same ergonomics as your wand.
Oh my god, it's gonna be a disaster.
Nah, it's fine. You got plenty of hair. You only lose a couple of locks.
You gonna drag my hair into this, man?
I mean, I've burnt my mohawk once or twice.
Yeah, see, that's one reason why I stay away from it, because my hair is so flammable. I'm just gonna keep it away from
Do you have any of those Rastafarian hats that you could put your dreads in? It's like a overgrown Scully.
No, I don't. I just have like the little hair beanie.
All right.
Kinda.
Well, then you're gonna have to get one, and we'll like keep it a little
Yeah,
damp, and then you'll hide your hair in it.
but then it makes it into like and it makes it stick out, so it's even more of a target now. And now it's just even closer together and will burn faster.
It'll be fine. Be fine. I'll be there with the fire hose just in case. All right, and then the last one we also got is a stuntman. We actually have a guy that he is low key aspiring to be a stuntman, so he learns all the gymnastics and kung fu fighting moves like the butterfly kick and wushu kicks and one-legged backflips. And he practiced those on his own time so he can one day become a stuntman, which I think is super cool. Actually, when I was contracting, there was a guy that his side hustle, or actually, no, my bad, I guess it was a side hustle, considering we're both overseas as bodyguards, was the stuntman thing. So it was super cool because he was like, it does kind of still beat up on your body, even though you learn how to mitigate that. But it is a ton of fun, especially when you happen to be a stuntman for someone like legitimate famous, if it has to be like one of your heroes and stuff like that. Or, at the very least, just be on the set with some of the top-notch people in the industry and doing some of the coolest stunts. Because obviously, they don't think about the stunt when they write the script for the movie. They just kind of say, hey, this is what happens. And then they hire stuntmen to figure out how to do it. So you can come up with some pretty neat things. So I think that's always cool. And another kind of starter type industry, I feel like, where you kind of learn all this stuff on your own and you start applying for different jobs until a company picks you up.
Oh yeah, you hit it right on the head, brother.
I gotta start talking less. I feel way to contribute, bro. Yes.
Hey, I talk a lot sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, but it's good content. It's good content. All right. So let's go ahead and start wrapping up this show. It comes to the portion of the show where we talk about our worst and best events of the week. As usual, to give you some time to come up with something, I will start off, and we will start with our worst event of the week. This one is not really a worst event. It's just kind of interesting, and I like to throw these out there because so people can get an idea of the kind of stuff that we deal with. So Wednesday night, club is going. We have a handful of parties in there. A nice bigger party of old ladies is sitting on the rail. They're getting hammered. Excuse me.
Jim Adler style.
Oh, you know it. So, one of the ladies, after I get done on stage, I'm dancing on side stage. She comes up to me. She says some stuff, tips me, and then she's like, "Oh wow, she says, what act or where your act's from or something like that." I was like, or what acts do you do or something like that. I was like, I mean, I did Doctor, but I do, I guess, Fireman and James Bond and Drogo. Like, no, she's like, what? I'm like, those are the acts I do. She's like, no. What's your accent? And I was like, oh, my accent, which is surprising to me because I've never had anyone tell me I have an accent. They only just tell me that they know I'm not from Texas, which makes sense to me because I'm not. But I was like, okay, I guess I have a Latin accent. And she chuckled and thought that was cool. And then she's like, where are you from? And I was like, Miami, Florida. And she's like, that's not an accent. And I was like, I'm sorry? What? You're the one that told me I had an accent. Like, I just told you where I'm from. But
why do you always get people like that?
Man, I think it's because I'm sober. I don't know. Maybe they want to see how long it'll take me to eye roll. Maybe the regulars put them up to it. Who knows?
How does every time? It's always you.
But like, she literally made it sound like I was claiming to have an accent. And I was like, you're the one that told me I had one.
That ain't no accent.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
I am sorry to disappoint. My apologies.
Excuse me. I didn't know I was supposed to have one that I didn't know I had.
Yeah. Clearly, I'll take steps to correct this in future interactions. My apologies.
You should have just hit her with.
What do you mean I do not have an accent?
I would have hit her with this one right here.
Oh, yes. You like the accent.
My accent? Oh, this is from Miami, Florida.
I feel like that one's a little bit closer to like Ukrainian or Transylvanian.
No, it's Miami.
No, it's small town in Miami, but Miami.
That's all you gotta do is hit her with that. She'll be like, "What you talking about, boy?"
Yeah, you don't know what accent is. Come on,
She confused herself.
Clearly.
You wasted your time, basically.
Oh. All right. So, what's your worst event of the week? And don't tell me another bank story.
Bank.
Yeah, the last two worst events have been the bank closing on you, or the bank being late, or overdrafting, or he just has some major bank issues.
Oh man, I mean they're cool right now, I guess.
Oh,
You know
thank God! Until you get a receipt in the mail, you're like, I switched to paperless. I'm saving the trees. Damn it!
Bank. I saw that guy today. Yeah, saw that guy today. He's a cool feller when he's not trying to get all riled up.
All right.
But, man, I want to say it was my gun belt like breaking.
What? Oh no, that's horrible. I didn't even see it
Hopefully.
happen.
Yeah, it was actually the last time I worked there. But the thing is, I had two of them, and the other one had already kind of was a little bit messed up. But something about this, I made like a minor modification to it right now. I might be able to. I took one piece from another one and put it on another one, and hopefully it stays. It's not guaranteed, but it sucks because I'm supposed to be going to Miami on Friday, and I wanted to have that prop with me. You know, and now I'm not sure if that prop is going to stay. You know, if it's gonna hold up on stage. I've done a couple of test runs and it's cool now, but I don't have full costume on. I'm not moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm not jumping around.
Yeah.
I'm not like forcing it down like I usually do to make sure it goes in there to like stay in the holster.
Oh,
So,
I bet you forced it down. All right.
all the way in there. So, so it stays for now, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
And how
So
long?
I was pretty pissed about that because that's like for me, that's a huge part of
Oh
the
yeah,
act.
you're wicked good, man. You're a regular six-shooting lead slinging desperado, man.
I looked at another piece today. I was like, man, should I get this and flick this one too? But it didn't have the same weight as the other one because I can do two of them. I just don't.
Yeah, I got you.
I broke the other one.
Yeah, having different weight would definitely throw you off. Faux show.
So, no doubt. Keep it even.
What you need to do is get a pistol that has the weight balancing similar to your wand, and then attach like dental floss to it. So in the middle of you spinning it around your finger, you can drop it from your finger and start spinning it like you do your wand. That will really freak people out.
I scare people enough already.
Fair.
I don't need to hit him with levitating six-shooter.
The old razzle dazzle.
The old voodoo witch doctor six-shooter. Like, what's going on?
6 shooters and sorceries, baby. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's good. That's good. All right. Moving right along to our best events. Mine actually comes outside the club. Those of you that follow me on Instagram and my social media have probably already seen it, but there is a move. You can do it on multiple apparatuses, but for me, the primary one is on the rope, the aerial rope, which is just that, just a rope. It just has a sheath over it, so it's not quite the same as the one that you learned in gym class with, but there's a move that I saw people doing it, and one of my old instructors was starting to get hers, or she wanted to do it, so I started training with her. The move is called a pirouette, and so if you guys want to just YouTube or look up aerial pirouette, you will see it. And long story short, this move involves lifting yourself up with momentum on the rope to a point of weightlessness. And in that moment of weightlessness, you let go of the rope, do a 3/4 turn, I guess technically, because you're starting facing up and you grab facing the rope. So, and you're turning away from it. So about 3/4 of the turn in the air, re-grabbing, and then kind of following up with moves, right? And so it's been a journey for me, to say the least. Off and on, it's one of those moves that's so frustrating that you can't really do non-stop. So off and on for about 6 months, I've been trying to do this move. You know, a couple weeks I'll try 2 or 3 times a week. As far as practice sessions, I normally get somewhere between 8 to 15 runs of it before my hands give out or I get too tired. And so I just happened to attack it. I've been like, man, you know what? It's probably been about a month since I've tried. I'm going to try it. And I got really close. I started to get friction on the pole or the rope, which was unheard of last time. Before I would just barely be able to grab it. And this time I was grabbing it and getting like some traction. So it was burning off my fingertips. Yeah, literally. I'm not even exaggerating. Like I couldn't unlock my phone because I burnt my fingertips off or my fingerprints.
What?
Yeah, because you know your phone unlocks on your fingerprint, and I was burning them off.
Damn, son.
So that's another thing that's helped me out. So, but I was actually really excited. Which, mind you, I posted a video of that one, and that was a mistake because I was kind of celebrating, but everyone thought that I was screaming because I had burnt my hands, which I mean I did, but it wasn't that bad. Like it's just a part of aerials. And then I
saw the celebration in it. I didn't see burnt fingertips, but now that I know, yeah.
So everyone was freaking out, asking if my hands were okay, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Yeah, my hands are fine." I'm like, "Oh." So I'll never post a video like that again, or a damage shot. But anywho, so I was super excited. So because I was so close. So the following week, I just psych myself up. I do a really good warm up. I tell myself, hey, I'm gonna get it today. I'm really close. I don't see I'm on the precipice of hitting this thing, and sure enough, man, I get up there and I do it and I nail it. And I wanted to make sure it wasn't a fluke, so I did it 2 more times and I hit them both times. So 3 times total for that night. So
there you go.
Yeah, to finally hit such a big milestone in a journey that's taken months to accomplish. Granted, now I have to clean it up, make it better, try to do 2 back to back. The journey's not done, but I don't know. It was one of the first moves in a long time that made me feel like I was starting to excel my skills and go to a higher level when it comes to aerial stuff. So it was super exciting. It was a great moment for me. A couple of my aerial friends were super happy because they know how difficult that move is. And so that was probably the highlight of my week for sure.
It was the checkpoint in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Now, no matter what, you go back to that at least.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Dead on. Good analogy. I like that. But yeah, man. So that was my best event. Pretty happy about that. Pretty excited. Another add-on to that is I did have a friend from out of town come into town and visit me at work. And so seeing her was a lot of fun. We got to catch up a little bit, talk about her new job and things like that. So that was a lot of fun too. But I feel like sometimes I kind of mention seeing an old friend a lot, so I try not to kind of repeat best events, Yeah. Kind of like going to the bank was the best thing this week, and depositing money in the bank was the best thing next week, and not being late for my bank staying open late, and me making the deadline was, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
They cleaned up their act, so they're good for now.
How about you, brother?
Well, I guess I need to combine 2 things. The first thing, I guess I haven't worked at the gallery for a really long time, but I got a wild hair and was like, you know what, let me just work Saturday night. And I actually had a lot of fun because the mindset was completely different. I felt like I was on vacation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like, okay, it's whatever. I'm just here. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll go there. No problem. Doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt I was a lot happier this go around. Now that I know that I am a member of y'all's organization, because I have a place to work 5 days a week. So when I'm actually not there, which I haven't been there or I wasn't there last week. When I'm not there and I want to do something, it's nice to be able to be like, yo, hey guys, good to see y'all. Y'all mind if I work? No? Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And get a little bit of work, catch up and see people, and then, be out and about. That was one of the things that I would have to say were on the more positive. That's on the more positive end of my week. Now, on the other half, you have this upcoming Friday, as I mentioned before. I'm going to South Florida. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't been in a year. I usually go twice a year, but only went once last year. It doesn't sound like much, but I like hitting the competitions. I like competing.
Yeah, so, no doubt. I totally understand.
So I also like traveling, being in the air for a little bit, and then hanging out somewhere completely different from normal surroundings, and then just going back like helps me kind of regenerate, you know?
Yeah, I got you. Cool, man. Cool. I dig it. I dig it. All right. Well, I think that's it, man. If you got anything else to add, I think we can call it a show. You got any last alibis before we call it?
What about these here handles I got to put in there?
Yeah, we'll do that. I just meant as far as anything for the actual show.
So as far as our subject today, well, it's like I guess to everybody listening, if you wanted to know what a lot of us were up to, you know, now you know. But if you want to know any details, just go up to whatever guy whenever you see him and let him know, like, hey, I'm interested in this too, or something. You know, just go up to him on side stage, grab a few bucks, and talk to him about whatever you were going to, you know what I'm saying, talk to him about whenever you saw him, if something you were curious about, because now you kind of have an opener to know a little bit more about us as the guys. So there you go. That's pretty much all I have to say about that.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely get a dance, talk to the guy, get to know him a little more personally, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, sweet. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap things up. One thing I want to mention is we have the Florida versus Texas battle, April 25th. That's coming up this month soon, where the guys from Dallas, LeBaire are going to go head-to-head with the guys from Fort Lauderdale, Miami, LeBaire. They're flying out to Dallas, putting on some great shows. I think it's going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 shows per club that we're going to go head to head, and then the winner takes it all. So definitely stay tuned. Make sure you ladies are getting tickets for that. Come out and see a great time. You can catch me at Cesar Goyazo on Facebook, COLLAZO. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at Cesar LeBaire 7. You can catch this podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube at Cesar LeBaire or Cesar the Crowd Pleaser. And you can catch me streaming live. Yes, I do my cosplay creation, I do my flow arts, and I do some nerd gaming stuff at twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ, where you can catch me and chat it up with me while I'm streaming. So definitely tune in, guys. Dingo, where can people reach you at?
Well, you can find me on my Facebook under Mandingo Jones, for my dance page. For my music page on Facebook, all you got to do is type in HENE, Hene, HENE. Instagram, HENE Train, that's Hene Train. And then Twitter, HEN3, and then Train, one word, no underscore. The second E in Hene is a 3. So SoundCloud, you can catch me if you type in Hene hyphen and then Train, you'll find me on SoundCloud. I haven't posted on there in a while, and I also have a YouTube that I will be posting more on. That's Hene Train, one word. I actually have 2 of them from both of my email accounts, but I need to clean that up. Actually, follow both of them if you want to, but the main one is going to be the HENETRAIN with no space between it. I'm pretty sure that should be it.
Sweet. All right, then. Well, guys, with that, appreciate you tuning in once again. Make sure you guys are tuning in every 2 weeks. New podcast coming up. If you are following us on any social media, make sure you subscribe or a social platform so you get notifications and alerts when a new podcast comes out. All right, guys, that is everything. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, keep bringing the rain.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you don't. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.